Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome and thank you for joining us today on another webinar here at Adapt. And we have here another very important topic, especially with all the updates that the immigration in Canada has implemented today. So we have our topic for today is what you should know if you're planning to study in Canada. This is 2024 edition. All right, so what are our topics for today? So, number one, we'll discuss what are the changes here in Canada with regards to international student program. We'll also discuss what colleges, universities you can apply for, what's the process. We also discuss the cost and how can we succeed this 2024 and beyond if you're planning to apply for studying here in Canada. And of course, we'll also have a question and answer portion towards the end of our session. All right, so first, let's discuss who Adapt Immigration and Adapt Consultants is. So, as you can see, we have two companies, Adapt Immigration Inc., together with its regulated Canadian immigration consultant, help people navigate through immigration process with confidence and peace of mind, while Adapt Consultants work with several universities and colleges to assist those who are aspiring to become international students when it comes to course selections. And we also don't stop there. We help you plan your return on investment, what happens after your studies, and what you should be prepared for in your study abroad. Right. So let's meet the team. So we have here the whole team will be joining us for this webinar. Of course, we have here Teresa, the founder and director of Adapt Immigration Inc. and Adapt Consultants. She is a regulated Canadian immigration consultant with 15 years of experience in international education. She is an immigrant herself who has lived in India, Australia, and is now in Canada. We also have here Bindia. Bindia is our document specialist in Adapt. So she will be your main contact person if you'll be applying for your permits, visa, and PR application here at Adapt. And so she communicates with clients and assists them in completing their forms, requirements. She reviews the documents and ensure the smooth application submission. And she will be joining us today for the Q&A session. And of course, myself, I'm Anne. And among other things, I am ADAPT's admission specialist. So if you're applying to become an international student, I'll be helping you out with choosing the school and the programs that you'll be applying for. And I'm also an international student. There you go. Hello, Teresa, and hello, Binia.
Hello.
Hi. Oh, you're
I'm on mute. Yes.
yeah.
Thank you for the introduction. It's great to actually. This is the first time we're all doing the webinar together as a team.
Yeah.
It's very exciting because there's a lot of immigration has kept us on toes this last few months, and 2024 study permits are very different to earlier. So let's, without wasting too much of time, let's get on to it.
Yep.
So, what should you do to know? What do you need to know for 2024? The first update came in Jan 2022. IRCC announced that there was going to put a limit to the number of international students coming to Canada. This was unexpected, but it's apparently the cap is only going to take 360,000 approved study permits for 2024. So those extending the study permits or those pursuing a master's or doctoral programs will not be included in the cap. So that's a good thing if you're looking at studying in for a master's program. And again, in Feb 15th, IRCC updated the eligibility requirements for PGWP for master's degree holders. So graduates or master's program may be eligible to apply for a 3-year postgraduate work permit, even if it's less than, even the length of the program is less than 2 years, provided the applicant meets other eligibility criteria. So from the cap not being affected to the PGWP length, the postgraduate length is not affected as well for a master's degree. Earlier, you used to get exactly what the length that you have for your course duration. So a 3-year is a good and welcomed change. In March 19th, spouses of students enrolled in master's and doctoral degrees and other specific professional degree programs will be able to apply for open work permit. So, which means that the other programs are waiting for a change. So right now in 2024, we're looking at studying. With all the updates that's going on, master's seems to be a safe option. So April 30th, international students in Canada will no longer be able to work for more than 20 hours per week, which was a temporary public policy that was introduced last year. Students are permitted to work for up to 20 hours per week until September 2024. So if you're working for more than that, as of 30th of April, you should have stopped, and you can work up to 20 hours a week until September. And in September, the limit is going to increase to 24 hours per week. So you get an additional 4 hours per week from September 2024. And as usual, students remain able to work unlimited hours during breaks and summer holidays. May 15th, students who began their classes on this day, the programs delivered through public or private college, the PPP, they will not be eligible for a postgraduate work permit. So from May 15th, if you're applying for a college and you have to know whether it's a public or a private partnership, or their diplomas are being given in a public and a private partnership, you won't be eligible for a postgraduate work permit. So this is a very, very important update because this kind of determines everything in the future. So you have to be very careful on choosing which college or university you are applying for, not just for the work permit, but also for the courses that match with your previous background. So let's look at just a few universities for what other options available out there. If you're just looking right now or you're just starting right now, what are the universities out there that you can possibly choose? The University of Niagara Falls in Canada. Have you heard of this university yet? Because this is a brand new university. This is based in the Niagara Falls. The location itself is pretty good. It's just a few minutes from the falls itself. I've been there a couple of times. The UNF is, they pride on delivering a distinctive academic journey that readies prospective graduates for success in their chosen field through an immersive learning setting that promotes interactive and experiential education. Here's a list of courses that they choose most of the time because there's a lot of people coming in for a master's. They have a Master of Data Analytics. They have a Master of Management and a Master of Arts in Digital Media and Global Communication. So it's just a snapshot on what the universities are there available for you and what are the courses. That we have University of Canada West, which is in Vancouver, and it is an innovative business and technology-oriented teaching-focused institution in Canada, and they offer an MBA and a Bachelor's in Arts in Business Communication. Under the MBA, they have a lot of specializations as well. Crandall University is Atlantic Canada's leading liberal arts university, rooted in the Christian faith, offering Bachelor's of Arts, Bachelor of Business Administration, Master of Organizational Management, and Master of Management. Memorial University of Newfoundland. Have you heard of Newfoundland? Because there's a lot of, this is very, very different to your normal Ontario university. So the location is also very important when choosing a university or college. They have a Master of Applied Science and they have Master of Business Administration as well. This is established as a memorial to the Newfoundlanders who lost their lives to active service during the First World War. Memorial University of Newfoundland draws inspiration from these sacrifices. So it's a very heritage-oriented university. And we have Mount St. Vincent University, which is in downtown Halifax. For years, the university has been committed to being a model of creative teaching and research that nurtures socially responsible global citizens. It has Master of Public Relations, Arts, Education, Bachelors of Science, Arts, and a University Diploma of Business Administration and Tourism Hospitality Management. So let's look at the process itself. Now that we've seen a few universities, you know what updates are there. Let's look at the process. So the process for study permit is divided into two. So one is the school admission, of course, and then is the study permit application for applying for a study permit. So the school admission is still the same. So you research your program. So at this stage, however, your research will be a little bit more careful because now you have to find the university that or the course that's going to give you the PGWP in the end, so that you maximize on your time here and your investment in your school, in your university. So the research and selection of the program is going to be vital in this case. And the next step is to complete your requirements for an admission, which means that you'd have to, the documentation aspect of things is still going to be the same, except if you have been thinking of applying for a college and it comes under the PPP, the Public-Private Partnership, and now does not offer the PGWP, which means that you have to look for a university. And universities have a little bit more extra requirements. Some universities might need additional exams for you to complete. So the requirements for admission and the research of finding the right university needs to be at the forefront, and you need to start much earlier to make sure that you get in on time. Once we apply, then you need to receive your letter of acceptance. And a new addition is PAL. So you need to get a provincial approval letter, which means that you need to go to with the universities that you're applying to, they will also give you this PAL, which is going to be very vital for your study permit, because without that, your study permit will be rejected. So now there's an additional document that you need to make sure that you get. The study permit application itself is still the same in when it comes to just the PAL, additional document of the PAL, but with everything else, like completing your requirements, writing your SOP, you're filling up your forms, all of it will still remain the same for meeting the TRV requirements, and make sure that you have additional funds. When we talk about funds, there is an additional update on study permit funds, which we'll get to in a minute. But you still have to do your medicals and biometrics and then receive your results. You have to also bear in mind that because you're applying for a master's, or if you choose to apply for a master's, you will not come under the cap. So which means that the regular admission process of what you would do choosing a college will be a little bit different. So 2024 process of applying for a study permit has definitely changed. You just have to be mindful from the beginning. So let's talk about the cost. So the cost of tuition fees. Now, if you were used to looking at colleges and you were thinking maybe we just apply for a college which has a lower tuition fee, you can do that, but you have to make sure that at the end the college still offers you a PGWP. So which means that if you do choose a master's, it's a significant difference of tuition fee, because most masters at universities cost anywhere from $20,000 to $40,000, so or more. So you have to bear in mind where you're applying and the tuition fee cost. That's the first thing. Your application and biometrics is still the same, of $150 and biometrics $85 for one person, and your medical fee, depending on the hospitals, and all other costs will still remain the same. The difference of funds for 2024 is that now, as an applicant, as a single applicant, you have to show $20,635 in addition to your first year of tuition fees and travel costs. This change applies to new study permit applications received on or after January 1st, 2024. So we are in May. So obviously, if you're looking, you should have shown higher. But if you're looking at the next session or the following sessions, make sure that you show enough proof of funds to make sure that you meet the requirement of $20,635 for a single applicant. So these are not fees that you need to pay the Canadian government. These are the funds that the government expects you to use on a daily basis. So if you're looking at the student direct stream, you would have to get a GIC certificate, a guaranteed investment certificate, that you actually pay to a Canadian bank, and the bank will then give you monthly living expenses. Or if you don't go through the SDS category, then you have to show enough funds in your bank statements and other financial forms that we can advise you on. So how to succeed in your Canadian immigration journey. So most of the students that come here all have one criteria in the end goal, right? Which is the PR or staying here. And I haven't met one person yet that has not said that they want to go back home. But if you are the majority lot of staying back, you do need to make sure that you have to plan this well in advance, more so for 2024. We at Adapt Consultants have a free PDF for the Ultimate Guide for International Students to download as one of your guide for studying in Canada in 2024. So, like I said, you have to begin with the end in mind. So, which means that you're mapping out your entire immigration journey, keeping the end in mind. So, if your end is a PR in this journey, then we have to make sure that you're working towards that by choosing the right decisions that lead to that. So ensure the people you're working with and the process you're going through is legitimate. So one of the important things that you need to know when you're starting a process, and you have to research on what immigration pathways you are eligible to apply for. So let's just say someone has applied for a diploma and they're now under the rule of not getting a PGWP, which means that you end up, although your end goal will still be a PR, you might not get the PGWP benefit because you didn't make the right choice at the beginning. So you have to make sure, it's very, very important that the course that you choose is leading you to where you want to be. Adapt Comprehensive Program. Let me talk a little bit about this because this is a program that we have tailored, because Adapt Comprehensive Program means not just like any other program. We make sure that we have to we go through everything that you have to do towards the end. So we keep the end in mind for you. So the whole journey, immigration journey, is mapped up for you, and we get to hold your hand every step of the way, from the beginning up to your citizenship. So with this, you have a peace of mind that someone's actually taking this plan for you, and you would avoid any common errors or any delays. So the better news is that you get to save a whole lot more as you continue your immigration journey with us. So if you start off with a study permit and an application, and if you do a school admission and a study permit, in the future with our immigration services and for PR and citizenship, you get a discount with our services. So because you are our current clients, we want to make sure that you have the benefit of staying with us. And you also can earn from referrals. So what do we do in education and immigration? We are a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. So which means that regulated means we are licensed and we are regulated by our authoritative body that actually keeps us in check. That's all I can say. So which means that we have to be transparent with what we do, and everything is on the table. And you have to make sure that when you choose an immigration consultant to do your immigration, they are also regulated Canadian immigration consultant. So at Adapt Consultants, which only deals with admissions for your study, our admission services is actually free of charge. So we don't charge for our admission process, and we assist you from researching and selecting your school and your program and submitting your school application and obtaining your letter of acceptance. So if your school application does need a fee, the fee goes to the university or the college you're applying for. So we also guide you through the study permit application from the beginning itself. So you also will get a consultation or a report rather of where you would go after you complete that course. So let's just say you choose a master's at a program, you would get a report of what would happen if you finish that master's, and how many points you would gain, and what would be your ideal pathways into immigration in the future in a report format. So that's the end of our presentation, and we are open to any questions and answers. Bindya, you have some questions for me?
Yeah. So there is one question from a viewer that I work in a call center and my husband runs his own business. We both have bachelor's degree. Who should apply as student?
So this is a good question because this kind of shows the importance of the assessments that you'd have to do at the beginning. So if you both have bachelor's degree, sometimes you need to do a immigration CRS score, even though you're looking at just studying, to make sure who would get the higher CRS scores to benefit from that study. So if some people would have a choice of, I don't want to study, I want my spouse to have the spousal open work permit. But if one of you have a potentially higher CRS score, and this is just a potential calculation because you don't know what's going to happen in a few years, I would ideally choose that person to study.
Yeah. Second, I have poor grades during my bachelor's. Can I still apply for a master's program in Canada?
So master's programs usually have a very they have a distinctive requirements, unlike colleges. So which means that each university is different too. So some of these universities do require a 60% of scores. Some master's programs actually allow you students with lower poor grades, but they would want you to do a preparation course earlier, or an additional prep units to get into the master's program. So there are options, but still we need to show to make sure that you get into the master's program, we have to see what the options available. There might be limited options, but they could be still available depending on your grades.
Okay, now we have, Do I still have a chance for PR if I study while I am in my 40s and single?
Yeah, this is a good question as well. Sometimes when you're older and you lose points on the CRS scale, your chance of PR in the future might be more competitive. But at the same time, if you plan to study and you have studied in a specific province, and the province accepts international students. Like, for example, the Ontario province accepts international student graduate stream. So there is a possibility that you could get the province's support or a nomination, which boosts your CRS score. So the only difference would be that you would need the help of a provincial support if you are older, and you might have to balance that out with a higher, more work experience and more IELTS score. So there's a good possibility of getting a PR. We recently did have a client like this, and that we consulted, and we determined that the provincial nomination route might be the best option. So it's not a completely, it's not your journey is not forsaken. It just because you're getting older, there could be possibilities. We just have to make sure that you have planned this out in detail. Is that all? The
Yes.
questions? Okay, the floor is open for more questions. But in the meantime, although all of the updates seem very, very complex, because we've been bombarded with updates in the last few months, it's not impossible now to study in Canada. There's a lot of questions that I get that is it even worth studying in Canada? In my opinion, I would say yes, because Canada still offers world-class education. Canada still has is a beautiful country to come and study, and there are pathways into staying back. Yes, there's an affordability criteria. You have to be able to afford living here, but it's I feel there, in my personal opinion, that it's just a few phases that every country goes through. No matter which country you go through, there are always phases like this, and it really depends on your personal journey, on your personal choice, your circumstances, and what you would want to do in the end, and what is your end goal. So yeah, that's my piece of advice. If we don't have any more questions, you'll still be contacted with a consultation link. For just because you're here in our webinar, you would get a free consultation link, and you can talk to me with your individual queries when you can. So yeah, thank you for being here today, taking the first step of studying in Canada on behalf of the team that are here. We thank you, and we look forward to helping you in your journey.
Thank you.
Thank you.